What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. We're going to talk about a new tier list video today. Apologies I didn't get this tier list video out sooner. I've been wanting to do it now that the game's been out for a while now. The first tier list video we did was about within the first week of the first Ascendant dropping. So with all the information we have now about the game and how I have had the chance to play with every single character now except for Eugen still, I just wanted to do my tier list. So this tier list one that we found here, this is made by someone else. I have no idea who made this tier list. But I realized they got support trash BAS. This is the best one I can find so far. What I'm going to do is we're just gonna ignore. I might use a support tab for the most part. But everyone, in my opinion, if they're B tier for me, it just means like they're good in the game. They're good enough to where you can complete all content, right? Trash, we'll just designate trash to where you technically can't clear all content with said character, or maybe the character just isn't working, or the case may be. S tier is just pretty much like this character operates phenomenal. Like they don't really fit inside a niche. They are just like essentially like a well fleshed out character. Meaning you can use them in anything, like whether it be overworld, colossal fights, whatever the case may be. Like genuinely speaking, or generally speaking, sorry, these characters are solid characters. Starting with Ajax, it looks like we're gonna go with Ajax first. I'm gonna throw Ajax in S tier. I think Ajax is an excellent character. Some people may think differently. In my opinion, I think Ajax is S tier because not only is he one, you can build him to be a tank, which pretty much is the more desirable kind of playstyle for him. But he can definitely clear all content perfectly fine. He can definitely survive in all colossal boss fights. He's never someone you're gonna look at and be like, "Oh my God, it's an Ajax," right? Like Ajax is good. He also provides some form of support in terms of buffing teammates' damage. So if people didn't know this, if you actually stand inside Ajax bubbles, which I wish more Ajax would tell people, if you stand inside Ajax bubbles, he will give you a firearm increase, whether it be to your main weapon or a rocket launcher, doesn't matter. Rockets get the biggest boost, but if you're not using launchers or anything like that, don't worry, you're still getting some kind of damage increase just from sitting next to Ajax inside the bubble. Other than that, in terms of overworld, he can actually do mobbing too. So he has mobbing capabilities, which is pretty nice. He's tanky, and just like I said, overall, you can just run through the game. He also looks awesome, so there's that. That's like a bonus point for him. Moving on to Blair. Now, personally, I don't like Blair. I'll be honest, I don't like him. But just because I don't like him, I'm gonna be nice, and I won't throw him in trash, even though I want to. Blair's actually about a B tier character. I'll say he's B to A. I know some people are like, Brender, you're crazy. Like his damage is insane. His fourth ability, yada yada yada. But it's like it's just one ability of his. It's just his fourth. As far as like everything else in his kit, I just don't like the way his kit plays out. Like the way he puts the fire down in terms of his AoE, it's kind of like they just buffed it, and even with the buff, I still feel like Blair isn't all that in terms of mobbing. That's just my opinion. I don't think he's a like absolutely horrible character. I just think like a slight tweak to his kit would definitely make him better. Maybe when we get Ultimate Blair, he'll go on being like A tier for me, maybe S tier. But as of right now, the only good thing about Blair is literally just his fourth ability, and you can't tell me otherwise. So I'm gonna throw him in B tier. Bunny, instant S tier. I know people are tired of Bunny, but Bunny is an S tier character for multiple reasons. I'll break it down. One, she's the easiest character in the game to get. That's not a starting character. Two, overall, her damage is sensational. She has probably one of the best DPS. She's probably one of the best DPS in the game. Not like saying she's the best. Don't misquote me there. She's just one of the best damage dealers inside the game because she's constant damage. She's a constant damage source. On top of that, in terms of AoE, she's one of the best farmers in the game for like 80 to 90% of the overall farming, right? Now, there are other options you can use now, like, like Valby and all that stuff, which is great. But like in terms of just like most open world farms that you're going to be doing, and if you want to do it like really quick, whether it be like weapon leveling or anything like that, Bunny is just it. Bunny can literally do all content inside the game. There's not a single piece of content Bunny cannot do, right? I know people are probably going to post in the comment sections and say things like, Bunny's so squishy, and I'm tired of picking bunnies up. And I'm like, listen, I know there's people out there with bad builds, but there's also Ajaxes that die more often than bunnies, too. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, yeah, if you don't know how to build, you're probably going to die a lot. But Bunny can take some hits. I'm not saying Bunny's a tank, but she can take enough hits to where she can definitely get by in the content perfectly fine. Even against like Gluttony and stuff like that, she isn't getting one hit when you actually build her properly. But overall, again, she can literally do all content inside the game. So if you just want a really good, well-versed character, she's hands down S tier. Enzo's next. Immediate S tier. I don't care what anyone says. You better not ever disrespect Enzo slander. The Enzo cult lives strong. All right. So in my first tier list video that we did, I was like, I don't know where to like rank Enzo because I didn't have him at the time, right? Within the first week of the game. But let me tell you, boy, was I happy to say he may be S tier because this dude is actually S tier. In my opinion, Enzo is literally the best support in the game, as well as a really strong DPS option, right? So Enzo, if you don't know how his kit works and why I consider him the best support in the game, is Enzo, unlike any other support, he doesn't have to work like really hard to buff his team at all. All he does is place his kit down, tell people, hey, come grab this and go, right? Like they'll just come, grab the ammo. So your team is instantly supplied with infinite ammo. So if you hear my chair in the background, my chair is kind of giving out. He instantly supplies your team with infinite ammo, right? So for all those heavy weapon builds that you want, you don't have to worry about ammo anymore. He got that unlocked. He gives you firearm critical hit rate increase, a massive firearm critical hit rate increase, mind you, not like something minor, a massive to where like almost any weapon can crit. He gives you weak point damage, right? And he gives you firearm attack increase as well. Like Enzo is actually like him. Then on top of that, he turns a fire team of 4 into basically like a fire team of 8 when you think about it. Because when he pops his 4th ability, everyone gets a drone that fires. And the way the scaling of the drone works is it's his duration also times by your duration. So if you have high duration on your character, his drone will last longer on you and pretty much have like 100% uptime. So it's always doing damage. Like Enzo is always doing damage, and he's never not doing damage while providing buffs to his teams, which is one thing I love about Enzo. Enzo literally just plops down a little buff station. Hey, if you guys need ammo or anything like that, come get it, get your buffs, and just go crazy. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Hands down S tier. Oh, and also, good note, his passive ability also makes him one of the best overworld farmers, because not only does Enzo make vaults easier, he does give you a chance to get even more Kuiper and all that stuff. So like Kuiper farming is just a lot easier when you're going inside the open world to get like, you know, Kuiper and all that stuff, or conductive foils for your energy activators and crystallization catalysts. So if you're farming those, which are things obviously everyone needs, Enzo is just phenomenal. One of the best characters to have in the open world. Okay, moving forth. Esimo. Out of pure hate, I want to throw him in trash. But I'm not going to throw Esimo in trash. Esimo is actually about an A tier character, realistically. Setting personal hate aside for Esimo, I'm sorry, Esimo mains out there, the 3 of you that may exist. I've played with Esimo in the very beginning of the game, and his kit for me is just very lame. I hate his kit with the fiery passion. He's kind of like in the same boat as Blair, but unlike Blair, Esimo has way more damage. Like his scaling is ridiculous. He has high damage scaling. I think he's like second highest damage scaler in the game. He's only weak compared to Kyle, realistically. The only thing that sucks about Esimo though is I hate how his playstyle works. So he has technically 3 abilities, right? Because his second ability is just him detonating his first and third ability. That's all his second ability is, which is awful. But the way it works is he puts down these little landmines with his first ability. He can stack up to 5 of them. If he has 5 landmines stacked, then when he detonates his second ability, he'll get like 125% damage increase. But his first ability doesn't detonate instantly. It detonates on a timer. So even if enemies run through the zone, it won't immediately just blow up because they're in like the landmine radius. Like it'll wait after a set time, and then it'll blow up. So that kind of sucks. So that's why his second ability is needed, because then you can just immediately detonate it when you see enemies run into the group. And I kind of don't like that for mobbing, but it's essentially what he does. Um, and then his third ability is like, it's like a landmine that detects enemies when they walk into the radius, and it'll fly out and then attach itself to the enemies. But like, say there's like a surface in the way, then it'll just stick to a surface and goes on timer again. And the timer is kind of like long-ish. So like by the time it actually detonates itself automatically, most mobs are already dead from your handgun or whatever the case may be, or whatever weapon you're using, or they're just completely out of the radius to where the explosion itself won't matter, right? So it's just one of those things where it's just kind of like, I don't really care for his kit. His fourth ability takes way too long also to like wind up. I hate it. Um, there's like no cancel animation cancels from my knowledge that you can do, because he turns his whole body into a massive explosion, right? And then he does like a big burst of damage, which is kind of nice. But I hate the wind up time on it. It's just way too long. He debuffs himself by making himself like, I think 30% weaker in defense. And then other than that, he just gets firearm attack increase. So it's for like 10 seconds or however much your duration's based on. It's not like crazy horrible. It's just his kit as a whole is bad. But the numbers on it is pretty good. I just wish they reworked them is all. Moving on, because I don't want to keep talking about Enzo. Or Esimo. My bad. Freya, I know the community feels kind of weird about that. Her ultimate just got announced. She's kind of like around a corner. I'm going to throw Freya in the S tier section still. I still think she's really good. She can clear all content inside the game. She's really good for open world mobbing. Also, she's the only toxin character in the game as well. So with that being said, you're going to need Freya anyways, whether it's a niche or not, to do some void fusion reactors or fragments in order to not reactors, fragments in order to get those materials, unless you're going to go to a whole another region. But other than that, she doesn't really have a niche. She's just really good at like almost all content in the game. So I'm gonna throw her S tier. I won't pretty much make her like a high S tier. I'll make her like a low S tier in my opinion, because of just how her poison ticks work. It's kind of weird. I don't really like the way they did it. I think they should just reevaluate those, or reevaluate that, because it's kind of like I think it's Room Zero Trauma, that when like the explosion or whatever, like if you apply poison directly to an enemy, that damage number is lower, but like the number that hits them after, like if it spreads, will be higher. I'm probably said it backwards, but it's one way or the other. Like the way the poison works is just kind of finicky. I don't really have it in front of me right now, but she's still S tier. Put it like that. She's S tier. Glay, instant S tier. Don't need to really talk about Glay too much. I'm sure you probably are aware of her, but Glay, sensational. She's tanky. She's an excellent weapon specialist. She's also good for mobbing. You can make a mobbing and bossing build for it, and also just never die with Glay. So she feels like she's everything you want. Like her whole kit is perfect. She synergizes perfectly with any and everything, right? The only thing about Glay is that she's really high investment. That's about it, really. That's like her only downside to it. But hey, I mean, at least you're getting the full bang for your buck. So S tier for Glay. There's not really much to say about her other than she's sensational, phenomenal. You can never go wrong with getting Glay, leveling Glay, doing whatever you want with Glay. Like Glay is just a perfect character. Jaber, trash. This breaks my heart to say Jaber's trash, because Jaber, he technically isn't trash, but what's making him trash right now, as of this current update or whatever, his mods do not work right now. Nothing about Jaber works. His whole kit is broken, and Nexon has not fixed him yet. And that's the thing that sucks about Jaber. So like his drones his turrets and drones, they don't get any modules whatsoever. The only thing they're affected by right now is range. And his fourth ability is being affected a little bit by skill power, I think. But other than that, nope, no scaling. Nothing's working. Everything's completely broken. There's nothing you can do to fix him. He's literally just broken, guys. He just doesn't work right now. So as far as clearing content inside the game, I mean, you're just a regular dude at the end of the day, just holding the gun. Put it like that. There's nothing he can do, which really sucks, because Jaber is technically an S tier character It's just right now he isn't working, unfortunately, as of this video, which is like what, today's August like 19th. So it's just be mindful of that. If you're watching this video in the future, he's just currently right now just not working. That's all. Kyle, S tier. Kyle is broken, as many people have seen. Recently, there was an exploit with Kyle in which Kyle can nuke for millions and millions and millions of damage. He can still hit for millions and millions of damage. He's literally the highest damage dealer in the game as of right now, or burst damage dealer if you want to say. If you really invest into Kyle and you make a proper build, you can pretty much still just nuke all content. So there's that. His scaling is ridiculous with like no increased mods or anything like that. I didn't have any shield mods on really, and I was still hitting like 4 million damage or some shit like that with Kyle. Excuse my French. With Kyle in the open world. So against the Colossus, that's probably like what 1-2 million damage just using his fourth ability that he gets back like relatively quickly. Again, not even being built up, no proper reactors, nothing like that. So it's like you can make Kyle hit really, 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 really hard. Like it's insane. He's strong as is. He's really tanky too. So you can clear all content with him. It's also just kind of fun flying around the open world. So if you want to just use him just to fly around, like that's S tier in itself. It's just fun flying. Next is Lepic. Lepic is one of my personal favorites. I'm throwing him S tier. I'm happy to see everyone starting to love Lepic. I remember my first tier list video, I immediately threw it up there, and I was like, Lepic's immediately S tier, underrated. Most people don't know about it yet. They are sleeping on him. And seeing Lepic getting the praise that he deserves now is awesome. He still remains as an S tier character, and it's probably going to stay that way until like the end of time, unless Nexon decides they want to nerf him or make content that just completely breaks his kit to where he just isn't relevant anymore. But I don't see that happening anytime soon. Luna's A tier. I want to put Luna on here twice. Can I duplicate that? Sadly, I can't. I want to say support Luna is A tier. DPS Luna trash. If you build Luna for DPS, she's trash. If you make a DPS strictly only build for Luna, I will fight you on that. She's trash. You cannot tell me otherwise. It is trash. Don't do it, right? Just build support Luna, and then you can use DPS Luna for mobbing in the open world if you want. Because all you got to do is switch one module, and after that, you have just enough damage to just still instant clear everything for mobbing in A tier. Luna as a support character is A tier. The only reason why I throw her in A tier and not S tier, despite the fact that her buff is S tier, is because how her buffs work. So her abilities require her to build stacks and fill up her meter, which can take a little while. Compared to some other characters like Enzo, for example. Enzo literally just pushes a button, everyone's buffed, right? Where Valby is like, or not Valby, sorry. Where Luna is kind of like, she pops her first ability, she's locked only into using her first ability, and then she can have access to her other 3 abilities inside her kit, and then she has to utilize her 4th ability if she wants to build her bar up instantly, and then she gets the enhanced stage that buffs her teammates for a short period of time. And similar to like Eugen, she has to be like around her teammates inside that radius kind of thing. Like you got to make sure they're in the circle to get that buff. So it's kind of like there's just a lot with her kit that's just kind of just needs some kind of rework to it, in my opinion. Especially because she's locked into using a gun, so she's kind of lacking in damage during intercepts. She can't really switch out. Like her kit is just very limiting. That's the only way I can explain it. It's just very limiting. But she's not a bad character. She's still a solid character. You can definitely get through the content, and you can definitely buff the hell out your teammates and make them all love you. So, A tier. Also, her personality's phenomenal. Who wouldn't love Luna? I want to make her S tier super bad, but unfortunately, she's A. Sharon, I'm gonna throw in B tier. People are probably gonna question me on this one. Maybe you might fight me. You might ask me why the hell am I throwing Sharon in B tier? Sharon's great. Sharon's just a very niche character in my opinion. You can mob with Sharon. So you can build her around like her electric grenade and stuff like that and do mobbing. It's not like the craziest mobbing ever, but it's a mobbing option, right? So you have a little bit of mobbing potential there. Even if you don't care for mobbing, you want to use it for bossing. In terms of bossing, she doesn't really hold up compared to every other character that can boss pretty well. So she's essentially just like, she's not A tier, she's not S tier. So I think B tier is fine. The main reason why you'll probably see a Sharon, unfortunately, is because of amorphous materials. So she's pretty much only good in that niche of doing the outpost for stealth because she's the only stealth character in the game. So you are gonna need Sharon. She's easy to get, but in terms of damage numbers, like again, like it's nothing crazy crazy. She can basically like mess up dudes like Devour in the beginning, but other than that, she starts falling off. So yeah, I'll say B tier is fine. If you think otherwise, just let me know. Valby, instant S tier. Valby is sensational. Now, most people are realizing how good Valby is, mainly due to like the Valby farm a while back. But I think people are still sleeping on how strong Valby truly is when it comes to her bossing potential as well as her support capabilities. So Valby is a burst DPS slash support character. She's filling multiple roles. Not only does she bring AoE crowd controlling abilities and dot ticks for damage over time, she's also applying debuffs to enemies, whether it be debuffing their non-attribute resistance and their electric resistance, which is awesome because so she's essentially buffing the meta. The meta being like characters like Glay, Enzo, Ajax, Bunny. They're all non-attribute. Kyle even is non-attribute. The only character inside meta right now that isn't any of that is Lepic, right? But other than that, like she's buffing majority of this list just for existing and using her abilities. And her abilities are low skill cost too. So that also just makes her really good. But if you run things like supply moisture and all that stuff, she's getting firearm attack increase, firearm critical hit rate increased. So she makes things like Python crit like crazy, which is ridiculous because Python has like no crit and you're critting with the Python. Me and my buddies did some testing too, and I just want to point out that for some odd reason, some guns get higher values of like she just gives them more crit than she's supposed to. And we even factored in like whether or not it's the substats being applied. So we tested it on weapons without substats that have crit rate on it. And no, she just straight out buffs some weapons to have significantly higher crit rates than the value that she's supposed to get. So whether that's a bug for Nexon or not, right now she's just really strong. So you're getting more than like the 20% that the game claims you're supposed to get. You're getting like some guns get 40%. It's ridiculous, 60%, and we're talking like flat increases. So that's pretty ridiculous. Moving on to the next character though, Viesta. Viesta is S tier, hands down S tier. Viesta is solid. Not only is she good, again, I keep talking about mobbing. I hate saying mobbing because like mobs in this game are just non-existent or they suck. But that's just the main thing I keep getting yelled at in the comment sections. Oh, my character can mob. My character can mob. So it's like, all right, well, listen, if you care so much about it, these characters can mob too. But Viesta, she's sensational mobbing character. So if you are tired of playing Bunny and all that stuff like that, you can rely on Viesta to get the job done. Viesta will clear all content inside the game perfectly fine. I even used Viesta against like hard mode Dead Bride. The only thing I didn't do, I'll be honest, Gluttony. Gluttony's the only thing I didn't do hard Viesta with. I didn't even bother with that one because Gluttony gives me a headache because there's a lot of people who go in with already lacking damage. So I don't want to nerf my damage even further while still trying to make up for other people's damage. So other than Gluttony, right, Viesta kind of is like, she's really strong. Now, she still does damage, a lot of damage, even to things that's resistant to it, because if you build her for mobbing, you can make a universal build for her where it's mobbing and bossing, where like you can build her around her fourth ability, which is going to be her mobbing ability, as well as like all of other abilities because they're going to be on instant cooldown, and you can just keep spamming her for like the whole time non-stop, so you get big snaps of damage all the time on Viesta. The only thing that you might have to worry about a little bit is MP, but luckily she gets MP back pretty quickly too. At least for my luck, I might just have God tier RNG when it comes to MP orbs. But yeah, so she's great. S tier. Nothing else needs to be said. S tier. Eugen, I'm gonna throw A tier. Eugen isn't bad. I know some people are gonna look at me and be like, "Yo, that's crazy. Why would you put Eugen in A tier? Eugen's S tier character." Well, similar to what I said in the first video that I did in my tier list, Eugen's a character that he has S tier healing for sure. He's great. You know, not many people are going to complain about having him on a team. It's just as you start going up in content, you start realizing how little you need a Legion. Like, you don't really need him at all. Most people aren't dying a lot, and what we really need is damage. And Eugen, unfortunately, doesn't have a whole lot of damage in his kit. Now, he does offer firearm buffs to his teammates, but they're small in comparison to other characters. His main specialty is just healing and trying to keep his team alive. So he kind of messes with like the Glay meta for people who are playing Glay. I hate talking about meta in PvE games like this. I'm going to throw that out there right now. But like, you know, it's just one of those things where a lot of people are just going to avoid you or potentially just quit, unfortunately, and not want to hang out with you because you are playing a character like Eugen, right? Some people may have you on the team. Some people may like, oh, it's nice, instant revives, dope. And other people may be like, nah, dude, I don't want it. You're gonna mess up my damage, right? Eugen can mob. He does have a mobbing build too, which is pretty nice to see. So you could take that into consideration when building him. I don't think he's horrible. It's just as content starts getting harder and harder and harder, we're definitely going to want more damage. And unfortunately, Eugen just isn't feeling that role. But he is feeling the role of keeping people alive for the most part. But everyone, like I said, is pretty much building themselves to have better survivability now. So only time will tell. For now, A tier. We got Ultimate Ajax, same thing. Just gonna throw an S tier. Don't need to talk about that. Ultimate Bunny, definitely S tier. We got Ultimate Lepic, S tier again. Ultimate Valby, 100% S tier, dude. We can talk about this all day, and it looks like that's literally it for the tier list. Everything here is S tier. There's nothing to really be said about some of the ultimate characters. If their base is S, their ultimate's gonna be S. Let me know down in the comment section below if you agree with this list, if you disagree with this list. To me, it's still nice to see how many characters truly are S tier characters. I think A tier, like I said, is still good. B tier, still good. The only character in this game, realistically, that just kind of sucks right now is just Jabri, unfortunately. He's the only character that we can't play. So, that's it. Thank you for watching the video, guys. I love you. Catch you in the next one.